Remarkably, before even taking office for the second time, it seems that Donald Trump has set his sights on privatizing an institution older than the United States, the post office. Did you know that's older than the United States? I learned that 30 minutes ago when I did some cursory Googling on the exact number of packages the USPS delivers every year. Interesting stuff, really. I'm still a little sick, got a cough. If I sound like I'm a little out of it, that's why. Sorry for not streaming. I'll get there when I get there. Look, people like Donald Trump don't like USPS because it is a government service and it works. That's the reason why. I'm going to run this through because a lot of this is so objective that I feel like it's a waste of my time to even cover it. I feel like you could just Google USPS and get a rundown on this in about 30 seconds. But the basic gist of it, USPS, United States Postal Service, foreigners, just keeping you in on the loop, okay? Very old organization, very respected here in the States, at least they ought to be, you know? Mail carriers, they're risking their butts getting chased by dogs every day. Delivers to every address. USPS does. Very impressive stuff, really. The logistics of that. I mean, they're all over the world, international, domestic, the stuff they do, it's incredible. In the typical Republican fashion, and this has been going on for decades, the most effective way so what's the goal of the Republican? I shouldn't just say the Republican. This is often the goal of the Democrats as well. But we'll just say in this case, Trump's organization, what is the goal, right? What is the relationship you have to the government that you control? Well, it's an antagonistic one. The government, insofar as it operates and spends taxpayer dollars, when it spends that money, it is not directly enriching you and your oligarch friends. So you want to privatize as much of the government's functionality as possible. The best way to do that, and we've seen this a million times, is you take control of the government, you deregulate private industry, and you hamstring public institutions. For example, USPS used to operate on much leaner margins, has been bleeding money ever since Congress passed a bill forcing it to pre-fund, I believe it's a pension for its workers. It's a congressional obligation that is not held to any other sector of government, just to the USPS. And after that, the debt that the Postal Service started to accrue ballooned. And since then, Republicans have used that as an excuse to deride the organization for its purported inefficiencies. What they and many other people, of course, don't want you to think of is the fact that the USPS is a service. It is infrastructure. Infrastructure doesn't have to be profitable. Why would the Postal Service have to be profitable? Like, why? Why would any service like that need to be profitable? It's like a fundamental base layer of society, the ability to deliver letters and packages. It's like the groundwork upon which you build all civilization. Is an individual road profitable? We bleed money building and maintaining roads far more than we spend on USPS, by the way. Though, of course, they use those roads. But no one talks about that. No one talks about that. No one talks about the hundreds of billions of dollars we've spent building and maintaining all the roads that lead to shit-ass nowhere suburban roadways where every 20 meters of road connect to exactly one house. No one talks about that needing to be profitable, of course, because in that case, there's no benefit to privatizing it, right? What would the government get from, what would Trump's oligarch cabinet get from pushing for some kind of selective privatization of road construction? Well, that's happened with toll roads, but in this case, our sights are set on USPS. So Trump wants to privatize it. The Washington Post did this expose, which I can't stand. I'm sorry, it's too late, and I'm too throat gummy to not just be angry about this. I hate the way these news fucks talk. Privatize here. Trump feuded with the mail agency in his first term. Privatizing it could shake up consumer shipping and business supply chains. Oh, you like it when I beat your dick and balls with this hammer? It's really shaking up your Vans deferens. Fuck you. I know it's the Washington Post, which is, of course, owned by Jeff Bezos, who is, of course, also the baron, a robber baron of Amazon, which is, if they were competitors, which they're not, though Trump would like them to be, that would be the USPS's competitor. Look, you know how this goes. This is it's not even 101. This is like a preliminary class on how this all goes. They fuck up the government program so it stops working, so people stop caring. People rely more on the private institutions, which get very wealthy, but the private institutions don't want to compete with the government option. So eventually the government option just gets privatized. It's happening everywhere. absolutely everywhere. Take a look at how the NHS is getting carved up by private interests over in the UK. The government makes the NHS worse, then the inefficiencies mount. People say, hey, I bet a private company could handle that better. And then they step in. And do they handle it better? No. But now someone gets very wealthy, or, sometimes even a few people get very wealthy, but not you. Not you. Other people get wealthy. It's a very small number. I'm trying to be like novel about this. It's just so straightforward, right? They hate you. They hate you. They'll take everything away. It's the institution, which, as I found out recently, older than the damn United States. They would privatize it to make a quick buck off of you. Not even a slow buck. A million, billions, hundreds of billions of slow bucks. And it'd bleed you dry. They don't give a shit. Do you have any idea how much the USPS does? Amazon doesn't even do last mile deliveries. Amazon won't deliver out to rural places. You can't operate something like USPS in a for-profit sense unless you're willing to have old Mima, out in the hills of Appalachia, paying $168 to get an Amazon mail truck out there to deliver her life-saving medication. You can't. It's such a building block of society. But they want to take away the polio vaccine too. So I guess that's just going to be par for the course. So what do I say? How do I be interesting about this one? Give me a prompt. Give me a script. It's late. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. Give me an idea. How do I enlighten you? You already know. I feel like I'm a kindergarten teacher here with the 1, 2, 3 multiplication tables. They probably don't talk about that in kindergarten. That seems a little bit cerebral for kindergartners. I feel actually 7 times 7. I feel that would stump most kindergartners. I don't feel like this is a 7 times 7, boys. I think this is more of a 2 times 1, maybe even a 1 times 1. It's just too straightforward. I don't know what to say. You know what? I do have something to say. Liberals. I'll bring it back to them. I always find a way. This is a problem with institutions. Again, it's always about the institutions. The dream is to have an institution run so well, so effectively, so completely that people forget about it entirely. When a system is working at its best, when it's serving its role effectively, it disappears. You forget about it. It's like the borders at the top and bottom of a movie screen, or lighting in a room. Like it frames everything, but you forget about it. It just becomes part of the background. It sucks. It's a shit-ass way of managing your systems. Because then, if people forget about it, they forget how good it is. And if they forget how good it is, you leave space open for dipshit oligarchs to run in and say, hey, you know how everyone just uses that flashier service? You know how everyone just uses Amazon, except Amazon uses USPS for their last mile delivery anyway? Why don't we just use Amazon? USPS is a snail mail. Everything gets delivered in 3 weeks in USPS, right? That's all USPS does. You write letters manually with a little felt tip pen, like a little fountain pen that you dip into an inkwell, and then you fold it and seal it with a wax stamp, and then you fold it into an envelope, and then you hand it to your local postal carrier as he comes by wearing knee-high socks and a little mailman's uniform. He goes, "Ooh," and then 3 weeks later, the mail gets delivered to your elderly Mima. And that's all the USPS does, right? Why not, have Amazon handle everything? Why be locked into the past when we could be living in the future? If you're quiet about the effectiveness of these institutions, people who could stand to make money off of their privatization will step in and do that. If you have something good, you have to be loud about it forever until you die. That's the thing. I feel like so many people want civilization to be like this perfect little watch, like the movement and all the gears and clockwork meshing together. It's like in the Incredibles, and to work so well that you can just take your hands off of it. But you always need to put in the work. And this is why there is I've given this anecdote before, but I have to say it again. There was a book that I liked when I was a kid. It was illustrated diagrams of weapons over time, like all the way back to the Bronze Age, and to have like a detailed drawing of like a hammer that looked like shit, and it was like, yeah, this was found in a peat swamp or something. I don't know. It goes up through time. It's got cool illustrations of rapiers and sabers and stuff. It was a cool book. And it went up to the modern day. I think the book was printed in the late 80s. So, it had like hand grenades and rifles, but not, drones or anything. And there was a bit in there on fortifications, tank traps and trenches and landmines. And there was a paragraph in there that always resonated with me, and I think about it like every week now, at least, which is no fortification works if it's left alone. It doesn't matter how complicated and devious the traps you lay are. No matter what, your enemy will get through them if no one's guarding them. You can build a wall as high as you want. They will scale it unless somebody is there at the top of the wall keeping them off. You can lay out your landmines. They will trip them or get rid of them. The trenches, they will get past them. The moats, they will swim over them. They will build a bridge. They will build a ladder. They will do something. All things need to be actively defended. The passive defenses, the institutional defenses, the entrenchments are there to aid in the active defense, to make your position stronger, but they do not remove you. They do not remove the need for you to be present. And that's how I feel here with the USPS. We didn't value her. We didn't tell her we loved her. And now she's gone. Now she might be gone. I don't know. I think that like if the USPS got privatized, America would like more or less collapse. So not really collapse, but it would be ruinous. So I don't know. You see me struggling here. It's not just because I'm sick. It's just like since I started doing this, there's like playbooks. There's like easy handout answers on what they, the capital class, the bourgeoisie, whatever, what they do to make your life worse. And sometimes it's like abstract, like like life is complicated, it doesn't all play out like a storybook. There are people who are quite wealthy and well connected in the capital class who are altogether socially conscientious people who aren't that bad. There are people who try to advance a proletarian aim but end up it up. Like life gets complicated. It's just rare, I think, to see something this. It's textbook is what I'm saying. It's just it's textbook. You make the USPS worse. You complain about it losing money after you forced it to lose money. And now you look to privatize it. It's gonna get worse for a lot of people if they go through with it. By the way, it's not just the WAPO. It's not just the Washington Post article. By the way, he confirmed it. Trump confirmed it. It wasn't just like an expose. People saying, well, give me a news report. Tell me Fox 32 Chicago.
Well, President-elect Donald Trump takes office next month. He may try to take the U.S. Postal Service in a new direction. A report in the Washington Post says Trump may try to privatize the Postal Service, and he's reportedly talking to his nominee for
that grade. You, sir, do not get an A grade. You cannot give yourself that grade.
I just did.
You can't. On your watch.
Postal Service.
With all the AI.
Before my watch, the same stuff happened.
With all the AI, with all the computer systems, you're worse than if I took a horse and picked up the mail and delivered it 2 miles down the road.
Issue, the Postal Service's new next-generation vehicles, which are rolling out slowly.
I don't care about you. Get out of my way. I really like these, by the way. These new USPS trucks, they're perfect. High visibility. They have air conditioning. Unlike the old trucks, lots of storage, comfortable for the driver, big windows in the front and side. Like I said, lots of visibility, very low front bumper. So if, little Timmy runs out to chase, a bouncy ball, runs out into the street, he gets hit, he goes over rather than under, So it's very good. It's very good. Very good design. Very neighborly, your friendly neighborhood postal carrier. It's not rhetorical. I'm trying to think of a way to end this. It's 2 a.m. as I'm recording this. I'm quite tired. I could normally get away with this if it was like a stream segment, because then it would be like a bit, like I'm riffing with chat. But there's no chat right now. It's just me and my tickly throat. I'm sorry, that sounded weird. It's just like the feeling that I'm gonna cough that I'm suppressing. It's not anything untoward. Got a new pair of pants today. Like sweatpants, but they're, what do they call them? Not sweatpants. They're called, it's like the fancier name for sweatpants. It's like the kind of name that a person would get, they get their sweatpants, except they wanted to feel real fancy about it. Ain't that a cute fabric? Am I appropriately conveying to you the reason why I'm not streaming right now? Is this like cognitively, like, am I conveying this effectively? Oh, hardest job in the world. They said that about streaming. They told me, don't get into it. It's the hardest job there is. What did I say? I said, bring it on. Bring it on.